the lines between founder, creator are blurring, but also like a creator, it's a business. It's all business to me. I see it under that umbrella. So what's interesting to me about when people go start a business, right? I feel like in the background and then eventually very explicitly, what happens is you're thinking about like, how am I going to fund this thing? People think about taking out a loan. They think about bootstrapping, right? But grants are just rarely a part of the conversation. So I would love to get your perspective on like, where do these grants come from?
So, how I describe grants are free money with strings attached. Again, air quotes here, because there's always caveats and things to consider when it comes to grants. Typically, you're going to sign an agreement before you get the grant funds. And that agreement may outline reporting, they may outline expenses that you can and cannot incur with this grant funding. So, I always say strings attached here. Grants are very powerful because it's money that is on the table right here, right now. Somebody's going to win this pot of money. Let's make sure that's you. They also do not require you to take out any loans. There's no credit checks. That means that you do not have to take out interest and pay interest, and pay this income back. So very, very, very powerful. Now, where do grant monies come from? It is like a wide blue ocean. So, individuals who are passionate about infusing cash to different projects or different initiatives, like it could be an individual, it can be a local government body, it can be an art council or humanities council. A lot of cities have those. It can be your mayor office, it could be your city office, it can be the federal government, it can be mom and pop shops, it can be also Fortune 500 companies. Anyone really can decide that they want to create a grant program and put it out there. So that I think is really kind of opens you up and it's like I don't only have to depend on the federal government, especially with the changes that's happened since last year. Like a lot of federal government money has gone away. But a lot of people are like, well, how does that impact creators? Here's the thing, federal government definitely has a trickle down effect where they have large pockets of money and they trickle it down to other entities and it trickles down to potentially places that you may apply for. But what I've noticed is that lots and lots of companies, individuals, and organizations are standing in the gap and saying, wait, we need art. Wait, we need community engagement. Wait, we need all of these things. And they're willing to put their cash to advance that. So yeah, it's a wide ocean. And that to me is very empowering because you really never know when the next grant opportunity is coming.
Thank you for breaking that down because I think it's really interesting to see like where the money can come from. It really can come from any one person that like has the means, person, institution. I think why I've never really taken grants as a serious path to funding is because for whatever reason, grants always felt hard to me. Like uh, and maybe it's more of like a mindset thing in the sense where it's like, okay, I'm gonna apply for this, but like, what? Like, it's almost like you're assessing your chances, right? As if it is easier per se to go the other funding routes. But have you ever heard people feel like obtaining grant money was just hard, so they don't even want to try just anyway?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hear that all the time, all of the time. And that's one of the big misconceptions that I'm constantly having to re-educate folks over at Grants for Creators about. So there's a couple things to think about here. Grants has odds of winning. We call that your success rate, right? So there is, 100% success rate, meaning that you win every grant that you put out, or there could be a 100% failure rate where every grant you put out is, zero. Now, if you only apply to 3 grants for the year and you haven't gotten a success rate that is substantial, you're going to see all 3 failures. So that's really important like the more opportunities you go after, the more you're improving your grant writing skills. You're getting better at communicating and speaking about your work. And you're also having more odds to potentially win. If you only apply for one and it's a loss, that's it. Okay. Secondly, when it comes to the success rate, when I compare my success rate to working with a brand partner or potentially getting a client, each of those has a success rate attached to it, including getting speaking gigs. Like all of these opportunities that we are getting, whether it's, payment or non payment, they all have success rates attached to it. So, why do we feel like grants is different? It probably feels different because we haven't been familiar with it. It's not something that we learn in school. It's not something that's really talked about. It kind of feels like something that's for nonprofits and all of that. So it feels intimidating. It's literally all about communicating with a a person behind the screen reading your application, communicating to them about what you're doing, why you're passionate about what you're doing. If you did win the funds, what you would use the money for, and how the work that you're doing is impacting others and your environment. These are all things that as founders, we should know. Like we know why we wake up in the morning every day and we are doing this tireless work. We know that, right? Grant writing is all about communicating that in a way that funders appreciate and can understand. So to me, it's all about practice and kind of, I always say to people, when you're into the grants world, just have an open slate. Like everything you thought about grants, erase it like a dry eraser. Just erase it, start fresh, start clean, and be open to learning. I have seen many creators who are like, I applied for a grant and I won. Yay. The first grant that they ever applied to, they win. And that's amazing. But for the rest of us, we have to learn. We are learning a new communication skill, but a lot of times everything we have and everything we possess within us is already innate. All we have to do is just put it on paper in a way that the funders can understand. Another really important thing for us to consider is the funder perspective. So if you're just approaching a grant application as me, and you're not looking at funder fit and funder alignment, you are missing a huge opportunity to clarify and make that connection with that funder. Funders are looking for connection. They're looking for like, wow, this person, like I gotta put this money in their hands. And this is a real person. So I say, yes, part of it is knowing your why, your impact, knowing what you're going to do with the funds, all of those things, great. But also, every funder is different. Every funder's mission is different. Every grant opportunity slant is a little bit different. Like, actually read the grant application and see what it's about. Sometimes they're like, hey, we see that women founders are under resourced. So, you want to talk about in your application how, as a woman founder, you are under resourced, but despite the challenges, you are doing XYZ for your community, right? So you want to take what you're seeing the funder cares about, their mission, their vision, their values, and also say to them, like, hey, I see you. We are serving the same people. We care about the same things. And if you give me this $5,000, I can go out there and do the work that needs to get done. Right. Another thing I want to say here is just imagine if you were a grant funder and you were looking at your application. Would you feel comfortable to give you your give you money for to do XYZ, right? What questions would you have if you were looking at to potentially fund someone? All of those things, like we're all choosy of how we spend our money, right? So that's the same type of like thought process to me that's really really important of like this is a stranger. How do I get them caught up on the 5-10 years of work that I've been doing in a very short amount of time? And oftentimes it's like 200 words. Like it's not like we have pages and pages of time to do a dissertation or anything like that. So those are the things that are like really, really important. And all the things we're talking about today, it will probably go one ear and out one out the other, like one ear out the other, unless you actually work on a grant application. You have to sit down and you have to like, okay, this is due on Friday. All right, let's work on it. Let's really like spend the time. And what you'll notice is that a lot of grant applications ask the same questions. We've covered that already today, like the same questions. So once you know how, it just is, rinse, repeat, refresh for each grant opportunity.
Are there any misconceptions? Are there any other ones and what have been mentioned so far that you would just want to clear up today because you have seen it be super limiting or detrimental?
Yeah, for sure. One of them that comes to mind a lot is, well, it's too time consuming. I don't have time to submit this grant opportunity or application. I hear you. Like, I hear you. We wear so many hats. We're pulled in so many different directions as business owners on top of our personal lives. And I get it. However, 99% of the people who are complaining about this have never put on the timer to actually time yourself on how long it actually takes you to do a grant application. Pause. Pause there. When you're seeing a grant opportunity, you want to go after it, put the timer on so you can actually see how long it takes you personally to apply for a funding opportunity from start to finish. Here's a case study, my personal case study. In 2025, I felt deep regret for seeing thousands of opportunities a year and not putting myself out there. Like, I know I can win some if I put myself out there. So I felt deep regret because a lot of funding opportunities are one time, they're one offs. There is a percentage that is like it comes back every year or a couple times, but a lot of times it's here and it's gone, right? Somebody claimed it. So in 2025, I made this challenge for myself and I said, you know what? I'm going to make time and my goal is to submit one grant opportunity per month. And I actually encourage everyone to consider that because it's enough that you're keeping the gas pedal, like you putting your foot on the pedal, but you're not overwhelming yourself where now this has to be like a 20% part of your job kind of thing. So the result of that challenge, including putting the timer on in early January 2025, I was taking around 4 hours to complete a full grant application from start to finish. That includes outlining, writing, editing, editing again, submitting, boom, 4 hours. Now, the grants I was applying for were $5,000, $20,000. When you divide 4 hours by $5,000, that's 1,000 plus per hour. I don't know how many gigs you have that can pay you that much per hour if you get it. But to me, I was inspired. I was like, wow, like this is really good in terms of the hourly rate here. Again, like, there's odds, right? Like, again, we may not win it. So you may just have had a 4 hour time commitment that didn't pan out. But if you do win it, I think the hourly rate is pretty phenomenal there. By the end of December 2025, my time frame was an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. I'm very proud of that. And this speaks to the fact of milestones along your grant journey that go beyond the win. Everyone is chasing that grant check, but there's so many different wins along the way, like improving your time, like getting to the second round after, the first rounds, you got a second call back. Like that's exciting, right? Like all of these things are things that show you and show me personally, like wow, like I got more second rounds than I did ever before. I'm onto something. I just need to do better at my interviews. I just need to be a bit better in certain places, right? So yeah, so to me, those are 2 things that you could easily do, put on the timer, like, again, wipe your erase board clean of what you think about grants, start from scratch, put on a timer, and then you can make it a challenge for yourself is to see how you improve. The reason why I'm able to apply and write grants faster today is because I've applied to dozens. So it's very rare that they're going to ask me for something that I don't have already or have thought through before. So I'm taking and massaging and reinterpreting of how I want to do things. And I have a huge body of work to pull from. Okay. So these are some things that we can do to really save us a lot of time overall.
I think a key word that I want to make sure everyone hears is thought through things, right? Like I've noticed, at least for me, that when I have the mindset or I tell myself a story that something is like super hard, where it's going to take a lot of time, it's just another way of me saying to myself, like, hey, you haven't taken the time out to really get clear on your point of view, your why around this. Like, create some space, create some time to figure that out, and then it won't be so daunting. For me, I feel like I figured this out when it came to like selling in terms of consulting. Selling to me is way more fun, might I say, because I'm very clear on my point of view and what I'm selling and why it's impactful. And I'm getting better and better and better at communicating that. And so it really sounds similar to like what you're saying too.
Absolutely. The more we practice putting ourselves out there, the better we get. You start and you stay consistent and you're working on it, you're going to feel better about the process. You're going to see more successes or along the way. And like it just becomes so much easier. Something I also want to say here is that I have a very busy life and I don't necessarily have oftentimes 2.5 hours just to dedicate to grant writing, which I mentioned that that's my how much time I really need. But you know what I do have? Okay. Before everybody wakes up, I am outlining my responses to my grant application. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm taking little chunks and tasks. I don't need to sit in front of my computer to actually sit down and do. There's a lot of things that you can do that doesn't require you to be in front of your computer. So don't feel the need to do everything all at once, all in one sitting. All of my grant work, at least personally for me, is all broken up. And when I break it up, it's better for me because I have fresh eyes. I could look at my responses with brand new 7 a.m. caffeinated eyes on another day versus like trying to push through and trying to bang everything out in like one sitting. So, but again, that's me. But you have to get in there, practice. So you can find your rhythm, your flow, and what works best for you.
You know, if someone's listening to this and they're like, I really like Danielle, like, she's super knowledgeable about this. Let me go find her newsletter. What are the types of grants and categories can they expect from your newsletter?
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. So grantsforcreators.com is the home base for all of the grant curation that I do. The term creator is so large and so encompassing, and that's fun for me because, like I mentioned, you could wear three different hats. Like you could be a musician and a podcaster, and you write poetry. So, my job is to find the overarching umbrella of funding opportunities for whatever creator could look like, including a small business owner. Every single month, I share a mega, mega newsletter with all of the funding opportunities for creators in the United States that I found. And I, you know, label it from like the first of the month all the way to like the 31st of the month. So, with that in mind, I always recommend pick a day of the week to go through our list and make your top picks of the week and to spend another time to like look to see if you actually want to pursue them. So every Friday I go through my list. I literally spend 20 minutes going through all of them. I make my wish list and I have my assignment for the week. Some weeks like this week I didn't see anything that calls to me, and that's okay. I could check again next week. So, yeah, we really try to make it easy for folks, but I also don't want you to miss anything, right? I want you to be able to get all the money, claim all the money that has your name on it, but it doesn't have to take you hours and hours to go through a list like the ones that we put together.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, if you guys have really enjoyed this conversation, check out Danielle's newsletter. Also, well, I found you from Threads. So also follow her on Threads. Threads is a whole vibe over there. So if you're not there, just get into it. If there is a founder or creator or small business owner listening now and they've never considered grants before, but they're really inspired by this conversation, what is the first small step that someone should take in order to really just get the ball rolling?
First small step is get on a list that feels right for you and just observe, okay? Observe and let yourself be inspired by what you see. That to me is so empowering because sometimes like, "Oh, I never thought of doing this, but I can make a case for this." And as creators, like we're so creative. And as founders, like we're so scrappy. Like we can make it work. So I just recommend get on a list that speaks to you and just get in the habit of checking it and seeing this is interesting. This is not interesting. Don't apply if it doesn't call you, but just see if something interests you. Now, second, if you see something that interests you, you want to see if you have like how long do you have to apply? Is it like in a week? Is it tomorrow? Is it like, in 2 months from now? Like whatever that time frame is, put that date on the calendar as like your final due date where this you want to submit this to by, but also put other time blocks on your calendar to further review the funder, get to know the funder a little bit more, write your grant application, edit your grant application. That in itself could be 3 separate little sessions, right? So time block, use your calendar, put things on your calendar, and that will definitely help you make progress along the way to working on your grant application. And then the last thing I would say is like there are grant writing podcasts out there. There are grant writing YouTube channels out there. There are grant writing books out there. Regardless of how you want to learn and how you want to grow, like there is this resource out there that can serve and speak to you. So add that to your rotation of like whatever you're reading or whatever podcast you have, just add a grant writing podcast. And just by osmosis, you'll pick up so many little things like this conversation. Hopefully, you picked up something that you can go and run with. So, those are 3 things I would say. Get on a list that feels right to you, just observe, be inspired. 2, if you do find something that you want to apply for, time block, put things on your calendar beyond the deadline because you need to actually work on it. So, put things on your calendar. And then 3, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, infuse, enjoy the process. I would say enjoy the process as you're pursuing this grant funding.